Hey guys, welcome back. I hope you're having an amazing day. Let's get right into the stories. The first story is titled, My Brother Demands That I Buy a Lot of Gifts for my nephews, so I make him regret it. I have no children by choice. However, I adore my nephews, 9F and 6M. I like to give them things for their birthdays and Christmas, like books or games that I think they might like. Well, last year, in November, I got a call from my brother. He told me that he thinks I should try harder with gifts for his kids because I don't have kids of my own and I have a good job, and that he expects me to give them lots of things for Christmas, implying that I wouldn't be able to see them again if I didn't. I don't like it at all, and I think what I do with my money is my business. Personally, I think my brother and sister-in-law are jealous because I travel a lot on vacation, but that's no excuse to be picky. After giving it some thought, I decided to make sure he would never ask for something like that again. I went to the store and told one of the clerks that I wanted the most annoying toys they had. I bought a drum set, 2 trumpets, a children's keyboard, 2 guitars, 2 xylophones, a few sound toys, makeup stuff for little girls, a bracelet making set, glitter. Those are the ones I remember, although there were a few more that dirty a lot. The naive parents were very happy when I told them that I needed help carrying the gifts. They clearly thought I was obeying them and planning to give amazing gifts to my nephews. But that changed when the children began to open the presents. Of course, my nephews were very happy with everything they received and really wanted to start playing. But the best was the face of my brother and sister-in-law, the horror growing with each gift that was opened. It was wonderful. I left a few hours later with a sore head from the noise, but amused because my nephews didn't seem to have any intention of stopping anytime soon. I was reminded of this recently as my niece is going to be 10 in a few weeks, and my brother has been strongly hinting to me that I don't have to spend a lot on gifts and that something simple is more than enough. As far as I know, between my visits and those of other relatives, several toys have been lost or no longer work. I think I'll be nice and just buy my niece a couple of books for her birthday. Addition with minor update, well, I certainly didn't expect so many comments. I just wanted to share something funny that happened to me, but I want to thank all of you for the support you've given me, especially those who praise my English. And yes, my other 2 languages use the masculine plural to refer to a group, so when you read nephews, I mean my nephew and niece. I've talked to my brother and he admits that his wife encouraged him to demand more gifts from me. I've told him clearly that he would not accept that again. And if he threatens me again that I will never see my niece and nephew, I will not hesitate to explain the situation to the rest of the family. I know for a fact that my parents would take my side because they don't like my sister-in-law. My niece will receive, for her birthday next week, a book by C.S. Lewis. I'm sure many of you guessed which one, since she has seen the movie recently and loved it. I'll also give her an ordinary toy without unbearable noises. Thanks a lot for your support. Maybe I'll upload more stories from other relatives, although I don't think they fit with this sub, so if I do, it'll be in others. The next story is titled, My Neighbor Insists I Give Up My New House for Her Son, claiming that he deserves it. Hey everyone, just want to let you know that even out here in Turkey, you can't escape entitled and crazy neighbors. At this point, I'm not sure there's any country where you can be safe from these kinds of people. The story starts when my wife and I bought a new house after saving up and living in a small apartment for a few years. It was worth it though, because the house was beautiful and on a nice-sized property. One thing I do want to mention is that the way the house is built is a little bit different than some people are used to, because the first and second floor have separate entrances and can almost be used like 2 single-floor houses on top of each other. I will bring that up again later though. The property hadn't been maintained exactly how we would have liked it, so we had a little fixing up to do. My wife was mostly working indoors while I was outside working on the lawn. We had a lot of half-dead shrubs and bushes that I could understand somebody moving wouldn't want to deal with. I was just going to pull them all out, plant new ones, and seed the dead areas of lawn. I had many neighbors passing by and asking if we were the new owners of the house. All of them seemed very friendly and welcomed me to the neighborhood. Then I had the woman who lived to the right of me that I'll just refer to as Neighbor for the sake of this story. Neighbor didn't actually say anything to me at first and instead stared at me for a very long time. I felt the look before I actually turned my head and saw her, and still she just didn't say anything. Me. Hello? Neighbor. Are you the landscaper? I don't want you leaving any mess over there near my house. Me. Oh no, I actually bought this house with my wife. I promise that everything will get cleaned up though, don't worry. She just looked around a little and keeps staring at me, and it was getting awkward. Me. Was there something else? Neighbor. You know, this house really would have been perfect for my son. Me. Oh, I mean, it is a nice piece of land. Neighbor. So, are you cleaning it up and then putting it back on the market? Because he's very interested in having this house. Me. No, we're just cleaning it for ourselves. She finally walks away and I can get back to work. My next encounter isn't until a few days later when all the pulling is done and I'm mowing the lawn to get everything looking even. She runs out of her house telling me to knock it off with that racket. Keep in mind that this was the middle of a normal day, so this was prime lawn mowing time. She drops more hints about how her son deserves that house and asks again how long before I put it back on the market for him. Then my cat, who is indoor/outdoor, comes to see the commotion and the woman freaks out. She talks about hating animals and she's gonna make sure that my cat is banned. More time goes by before I come home one day and listen to what happened between my neighbor and my wife. She started talking to my wife and saying things that she was so happy we were fixing the house for her son. Also how generous we were for gifting him the house when he was ready to move in. My wife also tried to tell her that we weren't just going to give up a house to give to her son. We live here. It was our house. This kept going with her complaining about every little noise I made and talking about how the house is too big for just the two of us and her son will make better use of it. We're planning on having kids, but that doesn't matter because we paid for the house. One day while I was working in the garden, I overheard my neighbor talking on the phone with her son, saying that they need to take action and get the house. I realized that this was more than just a crazy neighbor, it was a serious issue. I decided to take some action to ensure our safety and the safety of our home. I installed security cameras around the perimeter of the house and put up a fence. I also started to keep a log of all the incidents with my neighbor and reported them to the authorities. The police spoke with her, but she continued to cause problems. One evening, I came home to find my neighbor and her son standing on my property. They had crossed the fence and were trying to take a look inside the house. I was furious and demanded that they leave immediately, but they refused, saying that the house belonged to them. Things started to escalate quickly, and I knew that I needed to call the police. But before I could do so, my neighbor's son lunged at me and we started to fight. It was a vicious struggle, but I managed to get the upper hand and pinned him to the ground. As I was restraining him, my neighbor started to scream and attack me. It was chaos, but eventually the police arrived and arrested both of them. They were charged with trespassing, assault, and harassment. After this incident, my neighbor and her son were forced to move away and we finally had some peace, but the experience left us traumatized and we decided to sell the house and move to a new neighborhood. Update, we have now moved to a new neighborhood and we are happy to have left the traumatic experience behind us. We have a new house which we have made into our dream home. The house is bigger and better than our previous one, and we have even built a fence around the perimeter of the property. We also have started a neighborhood watch program to ensure that everyone is safe and secure. We work together with our neighbors, and we all look out for each other. It's been a great experience, and we feel lucky to have found such a wonderful community. Looking back, we realize that our previous experience has taught us some valuable lessons. We know that it's important to stand up for ourselves and to take action to protect our home and family. And we're grateful that we were able to move on from the experience and start fresh in a new neighborhood. The next story is titled, Boyfriend's Dad is Lucky We Didn't Call the Cops. Context, my boyfriend, 28M, BF, and his folks, late 60s, own a coffee shop, but because his dad, ED, doesn't want to A, listen to anyone else, B, learn how to run a business correctly, or C, pay his son his draw, BF is largely uninvolved and has talked about being bought out. He's still the administrator on the point of sale system, though, because his dad has no desire to actually learn how it works or go through the process to take over the account. The coffee shop drama could be a whole series of posts about how they did us dirty, perhaps another time. We got to bed really late, early, it was 4:30 a.m., which normally wouldn't be an issue as my BF was scheduled for a late shift and I'm currently taking time off work to figure out a medical issue. BF turns off his phone volume when he goes to bed, and this is well known to everyone close to us. He's notoriously hard to get a hold of in the mornings. I only hear my phone if it's right under my pillow and the volume and vibration is up. At 6:25 a.m., I started receiving the following text from BF's mom, which I do not hear as I am PTFO. 6:25 a.m. Sorry to bother you, I need BF to call ED ASAP. His phone is off. 7:35 a.m. ED is going to come wake BF unless he calls us. Just before 8:30, the dogs start barking as someone tried to open the locked bedroom door. I wake up panicked as whoever it is starts banging on the door. It then stops for a few moments, then starts again. No one has said anything at this point, not me, not BF, not the intruder. I get up and go to the closet for the baseball bat and start kicking myself for thinking we would not need a gun when BF had brought it up in the past. We open the bedroom door to find ED at the end of the hall. He starts yelling about needing the code for the two-factor authentication for the register. I start yelling at ED, and BF, who's just as angry as I am, has me go back into the bedroom. I put my hearing aids in at this point. ED claims to have been knocking on our front door, but neither dog heard him. BF gives him the code, tries to explain to him that coming into our house unannounced is a huge violation of trust and boundaries, not the first major issue. ED then yells about needing to get the register working. BF kicks him out, and we think that's the end of it. Not 2 minutes later, I receive another text from M, 8:24 a.m. Please tell BF to send the new code. We still can't get in, then we hear the clanging of the metal gate and more pounding on the front door. We go answer it, and ED is yelling about needing the new code, and he has a copy of our key in hand. He clearly was going to let himself back in. I lost it at this point and yelled, "You can't just let yourself into our house. What the fuck is wrong with you?" He gave me more BS about needing to get the register working. I screamed, "My ability to be safe in my own home is more important than your shop." He took particular offense to this, yelling back at me, "So you see me as a threat? Am I a threat to you?" I try explaining that I've had my home broken into before. His response, "Not by me," over and over, then continues yelling about the shop. I demand the emergency key back, and after yelling a bit more, he shoves it at me. BF had enough and yells at me to go back to the bedroom. He'll handle it. I do, because at this point I'm on the edge of a panic attack. Through the closed bedroom door I hear more yelling, and after a bit the door slammed. BF called his mom saying that ED needed to apologize and that this behavior wasn't acceptable. She asked him, "What does he need to apologize for?" BF tells her and she's mortified. I then get this text from her, 9:08 a.m. "I'm sorry to have bothered you so much today, and sorry ED made such a scene." I haven't responded. This man clearly doesn't understand boundaries, doesn't think he needs to be held accountable for anything, and felt entitled to just barge into our house and demand his son fix a tech issue. And for the record, yes, I do in fact see him as a threat now. Both of BF's parents know about my severe PTSD. We know he won't apologize because he genuinely doesn't see a problem with his behavior. It's time for some serious boundaries in a security system. The last story is titled, "My mom has called me a whore for years, but now wants me to get married." My, F24, mom has called me a whore since I was a teenager, but now wants me to get married. I grew up with a single mother, dad left when I was a kid, and I made sure to make life as stress-free as possible for her. I had to make up for my dad leaving. He was physically abusive and would beat my brother when he was a baby, by limiting my mother's stress. My mother blames us for sending my father away and ruining any chance of her finding a husband because she had to take care of us. She believes that we must repay that debt. I would walk my little brother to school from the time I was 7. I would wake up early when I was in high school to do my mom's college homework. If I struggled with her assignments or got her a low mark, she would accuse me of trying to sabotage her. I took on a job in high school that would allow me to pay my mom's car insurance, help out with rent, and pay for anything else she needed. I never dated in high school or my early 20s. I went to school, work, and came home. My home life was chaotic. My mother would demand my older sister strip off her clothes to check for signs that she might be sexually active. My other sister was choked by my mom for standing up for herself. When I was 18 and had my first crush, my mom would text me every day to tell me that my crush would give me HIV and I would die, that I would get pregnant and he would leave me. That crush ended quickly. When my sister found her partner, my mom told me that I was not allowed to visit my sister. She said that I was a whore and I wanted to ruin my sister's relationship with her boyfriend. I have no friends. My parents told me to never trust anyone / people will ruin you. My sisters live in cities far away from me, so the only person I have is my mother. My little brother doesn't really speak to anyone. Now that I'm 24, soon to be 25, and living on my own with no friends or relationship to speak of, my mom is suddenly worried about me. She went from calling me a whore and telling me that I would get HIV to demanding that I start dating for marriage. She told me that her years on this planet are getting shorter and she wants to see me in a wedding dress and with children of my own someday. She can't believe how selfish I am after everything she's done for me. She wants me to take care of her when she gets older, my sisters have cut her off, and wants to see me with a husband by my side. I feel zero connection to my mother, so I can't imagine having children of my own someday. I've completely ruled it out. I've decided that I do best on my own, so dating is not a part of my life. I want to be alone for the rest of my life. I'm really tired, and all I want is peace and quiet. I grew up with a mom that would scream and bang on walls when she didn't get what she wanted. Now that I'm on my own, I relish the silence. I can't give her the life that she's built in her head. Going from whore to housewife to please my mother is not a part of my plans. Now, she's back to sending me messages calling me names / wishing that she had aborted me because I'm selfish and ungrateful. I thought this new year would be different. I prayed that it would be different. I was wrong. Thank you for watching. I would really appreciate it if you could like the video and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. We'll see you again tomorrow.